If there is one thing we are in need of, it is more ways to beat Revan. This Revan meta has been really tricky to figure out. In fact, it's been tricky for me to figure out, and I have got Revan. Now, a big thing that comes back to for me is that I don't have enough Zetas yet, and I think once I get the other 2 Zetas, I'll probably be in a pretty good place. But for everyone else, especially those of you who don't have Revan, this is tricky. A lot of my shard mates are struggling, cursing in the shard chat all the time. How do you find ways to beat Revan? And a new savior may be emerging, my friends. And you guessed it. It's Ewok Elder. Now, this may be old news to some of you, but yes, you did hear me right. Ewok Elder seems to work very well to counter Revan teams, and I like this for so many reasons. I don't like it for some, but let's talk about the positive elements of this. Now, this is not my idea. Let me just make that very clear. But I picked the brain of one of my friends on my Discord server. His name is Quilair. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but he is running this team, and he also stressed this isn't my idea. He saw this elsewhere. So this is out there. You know, this for a lot of you, this won't be news, but I want to talk through why this works and why I love this team. First of all, this is going to enable you to get some use out of Traya. One thing that makes Revan teams so incredibly frustrating when you're using Traya is the AI seems to have it out for Traya. Every time Traya is getting direct focused, and very few people are able to even get a single turn out of their Traya before she is taken out of the battle. So when you throw Ewok Elder in there, for those of you who don't know, Ewok Elder can revive, and Ewok Elder will be able to revive your Traya so that she actually gets some use in the battle. Very, very nice to be able to actually take advantage of Isolate, to be able to use that Saber Storm, etc. And that seems to make a very big difference in enabling these Traya teams to beat Revan teams. Now, a big disclaimer to that is you're going to end up with some dead weight in Ewok Elder. He's not going to be a massive damage dealer, but he at least adds that extra oomph so that you can have Traya in the battle. Now, I also love that this is going to be able to let you use Nihilus a bit more. Now, another problem Traya teams faced is after Traya was taken out of the battle, Nihilus was getting direct focused, and Nihilus would not only lose a cooldown, he'd be stunned, and he would not, Traya's out of the battle, so that unique no longer impacts, and it was very hard to get to annihilate, and if you did, it might be too late. So if you bring Traya back, it enables Nihilus to avoid that direct focus a little longer and hopefully get some more annihilates off, and that is actually probably one of the better counters to Jolee, which has, proven to be very frustrating. Jolee, we used to think he was garbage, and now he's on the meta team reviving those Jedi. Annihilate, you don't need to worry about Jolee. You can annihilate whoever you want. They're not going to come back. It is not a big deal. So I love that it's going to take advantage of that. Now, some things I don't like about this team, it's probably not going to be great on defense. You see a team with Traya and Ewok Elder in there. So just a disclaimer, get that guy out of there on defense. This is going to be a team you're probably only going to use to climb. Fortunately, it's just one character to sub in and out. So you can sub your Ewok Elder out, put the other guy in on defense, and you should be okay. But again, subbing out a whole team versus one character, not super hard to do. So I think this is really practical. So while I don't think it's going to be very good on defense, subbing in and out one character I don't feel too bad asking for that. Another reason I don't like this team is, come on, it's an Ewok going with Sith. That would never happen. I mean, the canon in me is just like, what? No, this should never work. But it does, and, for those of you trying desperately to find ways to beat Revan, this could be a trick that is useful to help you get over the hump. All right, so you've already been seeing footage of these teams. Let's talk a little bit through what the attack strategy is and how this works. And I have been showing mods, and you'll notice that I'm showing the speed stats, and I'm also showing the offense, the special offense stats for Yoda and Revan. To me, what takes a Revan team to the next level is not just going to be the speed stats, but arguably the offense stats, even a bit more on especially Yoda and Revan. So I want you guys to see these Revans that we're seeing in this battle are all of these teams are modded very well for speed, but also very well for offense. So these are no pushover Revan teams that we're beating here. And you'll notice here that his mods are good. They're not insane, though. The speed stats are good. not insane. So you want to build Traya. Speaking of mods, you want to build your Traya to take a beating. He actually does not have a speed arrow on Traya. That blew my mind. He has a crit avoidance arrow on her. Is crit avoidance useful? I didn't know that this was a thing. These are the mods that I sell. I don't really look at them. He has found a use for crit avoidance. So first of all, mad props to him for that alone. And he actually shows a contrast here of Traya with a crit avoidance arrow versus Traya with a speed arrow. And he's able to win with the crit avoidance arrow much more comfortably. Now, the reason why crit avoidance is important is it helps you survive that initial onslaught of attacks from Yoda in particular. Get those crits out of there so you're not absorbing so much damage so that she survives just a little bit longer. He also has a ton of health mods on his Traya. Speed is still important, but he has got her modded significantly for health, and that just basically gives her enough survivability to survive that initial onslaught of attacks. Once Traya dies, he's going to revive her, and the team tends to be on cooldown at that point. So that's a really good time to start using all of your abilities against them. You can increase those cooldowns a little bit more if you can time this right. Scion dispels, you've got pain out there, you've got some debuffs out there. Nihilus does his force drain, and then everybody on the other team is gonna stay on cooldown. That's a really good combo to hit if you can do it right. Now, Fracture is going to be very important to utilize properly. When using Fracture, he is fracturing Revan every single time. Now, his logic in this, and there is room for debate here, because I could see an argument for fracturing Grandmaster Yoda, so let's talk about the pros and cons of those. If you're going to fracture Revan, the biggest con is you're leaving Yoda open to do tons of damage on you. However, if you isolate Yoda and fracture Revan, that may mitigate that a bit, because at least Yoda's not going to be able to use battle meditation and spread tons of buffs around. But that said, the reason why he fractures Revan, the pro to this is you want to delay as much as possible the next direct focus. You can't avoid the first one. It's happening no matter what's going on Traya. But if you can delay that second one, enable Annihilate to happen, enable Traya to live a little bit longer, it helps you delay all of those attacks as much as possible and the cooldown increase that comes along with it. Now, there is a case for Yoda. There is definitely a case to use Fracture on Yoda, because he's the machine of this team. He's the one who is going in and just dealing tons of damage. Anything you can do to slow Yoda down is just really, really helpful. Because he takes so many turns, he does a lot of damage. So I hear some people suggest that fracturing Yoda is the best. We don't see that in this footage, and so I'm not sure. This works, so maybe just do what works. But for those of you who are running this team, trying this out in the comments, let me know if you have success fracturing Yoda. Maybe some of you guys will have a better read on what is better. I can just see logic for both. After Revan is gone, so once you get Revan out of the battle, your next priority is going to be that he's not revived, first of all. And so if you didn't annihilate him, if you took him out by some other means, then just be sure that you focus on Jolee. And he focuses on Jolee pretty early too, because he just wants to avoid that. However, if you're able to annihilate Revan, which he does in some of these battles, you actually might not need to worry about Jolee super quick. You can go for Yoda, probably, especially if you're able to, clear all of the buffs, do a force drain, keep Jolee on cooldown, maybe even fracture Jolee next. Then you can just worry about killing Yoda. And so what it's going to become after Revan is gone is just making sure, especially if you're not him, just make sure that you're able to take Yoda out as soon as possible without Yoda having a chance to get revived. You really don't have much time to afford on this, and you will notice a lot of these battles are going to the last minute. It's just kind of, I mean, even Revan versus Revan, it's just these teams take a long time to burn through. They almost need to add a minute to the play clock. Just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. 5 minutes is enough. But you're going to want to just make sure that you're not leaving room for Revan to, or for Yoda to be revived if you're killing him next. So make sure Jolee is either on cooldown or pinned down with Fracture after that. All right, my friends, what are some of your thoughts on this team? To me, out of all of the Revan counter teams I've seen, this to me looks to be one of the most practical to use, just because the mods aren't absolutely critical to be just stupid, insane god speed. You still need to mod carefully. You need to make sure that you're thinking through it well. You know, make sure Traya is going to be modded for tons of health. I know a lot of people like to put tons of tenacity on their Traya too, so that she's not going to have that health block. That's really important as well. He doesn't worry about that a ton, to be honest, because he is just kind of accepting that Traya is going to be taken out. He just wants to delay that as much as possible. So I really like that the team isn't dependent on superior mods. It does need to have good mods, just maybe not crazy mods. I also like that it's one character you swap in and out. A lot of you guys at this point do have Traya. You're able to use your Traya teams. It's just a matter of figuring out how to make that work against Revan, and Revan counters Traya in so many ways. Being able to revive her gives you that edge, enables you to utilize Isolate on Yoda, enables you to bring Traya back and get in the battle, use Saber Storm, all of that stuff that you need from Traya that you haven't been able to use. You do have a little bit of dead weight with Ewok Elder, but it seems to be working. And then on defense, just swap him out and you should be okay, at least as okay as you can be with all of the Traya teams out there. With all the Revan teams out there, this isn't going to hold, especially against Revan teams. The AI won't know how to play it nearly as well. Let me know what some of your thoughts of this team are down below. And again, like I said in my last Revan counter video, tell me some other teams that you are using. Let's brainstorm together. I know this meta has been frustrating for a lot of you. What is working for you? What is not working? Commiserate, everyone. Sing Kumbaya in the comments. How are we going to make this work? And let me know what your thoughts are. And if you did like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and do so. And be sure to turn notifications on. Then you can know right when I post a new video, so you can be the first to be aware of that new content. As always, my brothers, don't forget
my dead body. Sorry about the mess.